All right, it looks like I am alive. Welcome, everybody. We are here for another live stream just to hang out. Really, we do have a topic. We'll get to it in just a second. But I already see some awesome people in the chat room. Tom Malogny, who took a second to hang out today. Tom, how are you doing, my friend? If you guys don't know who he is, I don't even know how in the world that could happen. But he's on this channel every Sunday for the last 2 or 3 years, and it's been forever. Hasn't missed a week. So, and he's the moderator in the chat as well. A job I just gave him without any warning. But so you're in charge now, Tom, and then Nate Jones. I think 2 super chats last time. I appreciate it. I know we also talked on Twitter about bringing. I had an idea of bringing people in here, just kind of live. Now I still gonna do it. I had to research like the software and how to do this. I need to still take another week to do the final kind of test run and pick the software. So, but we're gonna do this next time. We're just if you want to chat live, we'll just do the split screen and hopefully it's gonna be fun and your mic is gonna be working. But and then Crystal, someone who I met in Las Vegas, where I now partially live. Not right now. Right now I'm in Sacramento. She helped me take pictures from my dating profile, which was also pretty cool. Very much involved in the local electric car community. She's got a Model 3 right now, but just about to get a Model S. So I'm excited for her. And yeah, so let me know where you're watching me from. And I see once again all over the world. That's pretty cool. Basil P from UK. Pat, how you doing? G Jill, yeah, let me know which car you're driving. G Jill's got the new Kona with a price drop. That's always good, right? So first, let's talk about this because why, and feel free to give me answers right here in the chat. Why did you guys pick the electric car that you picked, or just about to, right? I know some of you are just about to get one. I just got myself an ID4, and my other car is the Chevy Volt. That's the one that I drive when I'm in Vegas because the distances there are very tiny, so I pretty much never use gas there. I think I've used like 2 gallons of gas in the last 3 or 4 months, ever since I got my house there. All right, Chucky has a 2018 Model X. I love Model X. Arguably the best Tesla. That's one of the best cars in the world, right? Ooh, I already got a spammer. Tom, get him. I'll get him. I'll get him. Boom, I got him. All right. So we're talking about what? Okay. So I'll tell you. I always equate the getting a car, a special electric car, to kind of to starting dating somebody, right? Off of a dating app a lot of times. Like, first you get attracted by a look, right? Look at her. Look at that backside, it's a color, also important, and all the curves, and then you start looking into like you've got chemistry. Oh, 90 kilowatt hour battery, nice. And at the end of the day, it's usually how much am I going to spend on this, right? So, and everything in between. So I always equate it to dating, and I think I'm not actually that far off. That's how it is for me. So for my ID4, for example, and by the way, I just ran a poll very similar to what I'm asking right now in my community tab. I try to do polls every day now to keep you guys also entertained and to see what everyone's opinions are about pretty much everything. So to me, it was a good, and always, not just with car purchases, it's a balance of cost and value that you get for it, plus customer service. Now, I did know about Volkswagen customer service since I've never been a Volkswagen customer. So that was a bit of a gamble, but I kind of knew it was going to be better than unfortunately would have experienced in the past. Oh, look, one of my editors is even watching me. Welcome. How you doing, my friend? All the way from Bangladesh. And Nate has already started with a super chat. That's awesome. And you're not even asking anything. I appreciate it. As you know, it goes to my Chipotle, which I'm going to right after this. Okay, so to me, it was important that the car has all the basic things that I want, which honestly, I really don't want that many things out of my car, right? I do want a nice cushy ride and a nice build quality inside. Like I may not care as much about the panels gaps outside, but like inside, I really want it to be, nice. And the range obviously very important. 250 miles, that's more than plenty for me. Anything over 200 miles really. And I usually get about 220 out of the my ID4. Though the only time when the range matters to me is when I go to Oakland or the Bay Area, which is about 80, 90 miles from me. And I almost rarely even need to charge. Though charging is free for me, as any other ID4 owner. So and so that's when, because I'm driving pretty fast on the freeway, it's usually windy and cold. I'm driving a lot of times at night. But I still get pretty good mileage out of it. So it was important, all of that stuff. Now the 3 years of Electrify America free charging, that was a big deal. Just like when I was buying my Teslas in the beginning, it was also a big deal. It was like free supercharging for life at that point. Um, Tom's back. Welcome back, Tom. So Joshua also says that he's waiting for R1S and a Cybertruck. You're just gonna have two electric trucks in your garage if Cybertruck fits. That's pretty cool. All right, so it's Crystal says I picked the Model 3 for battery efficiency, supercharger network, and the Tesla owner community. Now that's another thing. Tesla owner community is very unique, right? If you're charging at the supercharger, a lot of times it's a party. Well, maybe I'm outdated there. You guys let me know. Is it a party? Is it still a kind of a hangout spot when you're supercharging? It was back in my day when I had a Tesla. So let's see. I, so and like for example, I like little gadgets that are unique. So the ID4 has this ID light, which I like absolutely love. A lot of times I'll be driving home, and I know how to get home most of the time. I don't drink, and so I still would turn on the navigation, so it would do this awesome light thing with the ID light. I love it that much. So it was important to have a gadget like that, but I also didn't want over complications, right? Like I want my vents to be manual, and I want my instrumental panel where I want it to be, which is in front of me. So all those basic things. Now I know a lot. Actually, the only criticism that ID4 gets is that's not a very powerful car, and it isn't. However, I have been flooring it every time I am at the light and I'm the first car, and I almost never end up, not that I'm racing, but no one ever ends up getting, ahead of me. Maybe motorcycles. So it's powerful enough to obviously compare to pretty much anybody else who probably has more powerful cars, just doesn't want to go that fast anyway. Um, for me, it works. Just like I said, I'm not a power guy. I'm more of a comfort guy. And this car, oh my God, it's comfortable. It's quiet. But with all of that I'm saying, all of these things are good, right? But what about the price? And the price was great. After the incentives here in California, ended up with, I think, $33,000. And mine's a first edition, so you can actually get it cheaper. So the balance of what I get, what I want, and the price was important. I also love the way it looks, front and back. And I'm not even an SUV or crossover guy. I think it's actually quite difficult to make a crossover look good. And I think they've managed to do this. Bryce in the chat room says, everyone give E4 Electric a thumbs up. Yes, do this, but also click on the thumbs up icon. It actually benefits me even more. I appreciate that. Let's see. Kelly says, we used to have buttons on our phones, but now they're gone too. Are you talking about the thumbs up button? Because that should be there. Let's see. Now, Tom says he has an invitation to drive the R1T. Yes. I today confirmed that I do not, Tom, have an invitation from Rivian. It's kind of disappointing. I'm not gonna lie. I was there at the very first like private unveiling, and then at the auto show unveiling, and I think to almost every single media event. But I'm no longer cool, I guess. But I know Tom will do a great job covering it. I myself am going to Chattanooga in less than 2 weeks to check out the factory. It's not a new factory. It's a factory that Volkswagen is converting from making gas cars to making all electric cars, including the ID4, because ID4 is going to be made in America, and that will drop the price, which I already love, by another $5,000. By the way, full disclosure, just in case you guys don't know, Volkswagen is one of my sponsors. They're not sponsoring this video. Nobody really is. That's how I want it for now. But they are one of the sponsors. But they became sponsors after I got the ID4. So I fell in love with it way before they fell in love with me, I guess. So I'm gonna check that out. I'm also gonna get to drive the ID4 all-wheel drive. I'm assuming it's a pre-production prototype. So I'll be there to do that and report back to you guys. So between me and Tom, the coverage is going to be pretty decent. Bromance in all caps. I got my Tesla because I had an e-Golf, and for the same price, more range and way better experience. I don't know what e-Golf's original price was, but I'm assuming you're also talking about the entry-level Model 3. Is that what we're talking about? All right. Catholic Cop PR. What do you think about the ID4 OS? A lot of people say it sucks. I actually like it. Now, it does suck in terms of it takes about a minute for it to come up when you start the car. It is annoying. I know it's going to be fixed with the next over-the-air update from what I understand, but it is annoying when you get your car in, in your car, let's say it's too hot and you have to wait to have access to air conditioning or enter your destination. Totally sucks, but hopefully it's going to be improved. After that, people say it's laggy. For my taste, it's just fine. But the interface is simple and intuitive enough for me to get to pretty much anything. I didn't have to spend that much time learning it, which to me as a former UX designer, I don't know if you guys know, I used to be a UX designer. To me, that's perfect. It's simple, everything that I need. I don't need the fart apps. I don't need all kinds of, I don't play games on that. Everything that I need beyond that user interface, I got it right here. So in my phone. But again, to each its own. I guess I'm just describing my needs and my sort of budget in terms of the price and kind of letting you guys know how my decision making made go. But I also would like to obviously hear your. Let's see. DS says I drive 2017 Bolt EV because of the range and affordability. Now Bolt EV, before it started catching on fire, did have there was the only other EV that had a range over 200 miles besides Tesla, and many years ago. That's why I think Chevy could have been the #2 brand right now of electric vehicles if they would have probably put that technology into Volt's body, which is a much better looking car, and I think just better inside as well. I'm biased because I love my Volt. And if they would have, continuously improved the range, which they haven't really. I think they've added like 30 miles in the last 5 years of producing it. But nevertheless, totally hear you. It's good price, especially now. James says Lucid plans factory tours on the week of September 27th. Yeah, it looks like probably me and Tom will get invited. I don't know. I haven't received them. I know they're doing the tours, but I did not receive the invitation myself. So well, that's a lot of stuff that we're going to be doing this month, and I'm glad that a lot of things are happening and a lot of travel is starting. But to me, travel is tough when you do it a lot, and I already go between Vegas and here, Sacramento, between my new homes. So so it's a bit tough. All right, I see Tom is running his own show in a in a live stream, answering your questions. So thank you so much for that, Tom. Danielle is asking, should I worry about my ID4 LG battery since it's charging in indoor parking? So don't forget, LG batteries are used in a lot of different cars, electric cars. So and I think the total amount of cars that caught on fire because of LG batteries, and I'm including the Hyundai's little scandal as well, because they had the same problem as the Chevy Bolt. I think the total number is 20, maybe 30. I mean, and I think that's like high numbers in the world out of a lot of them that are produced. I'm charging mine at home. I'm not really scared. I'm good with it. I also believe that every single manufacturer who's been using LG Chem batteries have done their own investigation to make sure that it's not happening to their cars, because as you can see, it can be disastrous to the brand. So I'm gonna trust that none of them are complete idiots and decided that, nah, never mind. Plus, I believe it is known what the issue is now and which battery factories and patches that had that issue. And I'm sure LG Chem also doesn't want them to go down in flames, literally, right? So I think at this point, it's remember that Taco Bell had or Chipotle had this scare where a couple people got some stomach virus or whatever and got really sick. Well, guess what? After that, like a month or two after that, after they've conducted the investigations and implemented all kinds of new safety regulations on themselves, they were the safest restaurants to eat at, right? Because they knew what the problem was and they completely overdid it with how healthy your food and Ebola free, Ebola free, whatever that virus is, the stomach virus. Not very versed with stomach viruses, thankfully. But and then just the same, I think with this, I think the manufacturers that are making cars with LG Chem batteries are going to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't want to see this with our cars. We're going to go back to the factories and make sure that things are going smoothly, right? Um, John is asking if I test drove the Kia EV6. I have not. So the media drives have been really odd. First of all, a lot of these cars go on sale in Europe first. So it's all of the European YouTubers that get access to it. And by the time we get it here, there's not much we can do for you guys. Like there's nothing I can review that hasn't been done already. So I usually don't. I just experienced the car for myself just so I can tell you that I understand, I've been to all of these cars and I can speak with good certainty about it, but they have not. And also because of pandemic, they have had limited amount of spots for journalists to attend those events where you can test drive the car, and therefore much bigger publications than mine, like Motor Trend or Electric, would get the spot, and smaller YouTubers like me and Tom kind of don't. Um, Fatmos, welcome back. I know we had a conversation a couple of times this week. He says, I got my Volt because I wanted to try an EV, but didn't have a house with a dedicated charger. Also, GM has more and much better looking EVs, but only in China. That is true. And yeah, I love the way my Volt looks, and I think it's the best gateway drug to electric cars, right? Because it's got a decent range where most people like me don't really ever need to put gas into that car, but you have that gas tank just in case. I'll give you an example. I used to really, really, really be scared of flying. Like you couldn't get me on a plane. And then 3 years ago, when I realized, oh crap, I'm going to be doing this channel full time, and I have to travel. How in the world I'm going to be flying around the world? And so I went to therapy, and it completely worked. In 3 months, I was completely cleared of this phobia. I fly all the time, never really scared, turbulence or not. But the way we did it is, as much as I didn't want to take like anti-anxiety pills, I just don't like taking any type of drugs, legal or illegal. And the key was to have it with me on the plane. So if I like really start freaking out, I can always take that, but really not to. And I never have. The fact that I had my security blanket, right? Those pills, totally calmed me down. So same thing with the Volt, right? I don't need the gas in the Volt most of the time, but if I ever do, which sometimes happens, I totally can use it, and then I got an extra 200 miles, right? Um, let's see. Well, there you go. See, Tom in the chat room says that Kia has not offered any US test drives yet. It's kind of funny up and down. Let me know if you guys are having any sort of issues watching the feed. Um, let's see. FU Kung Flu. I don't know what that means, but it says no test drives. What's the point? Is Kia scared? Well, the test drives are in Europe because that's where they actually started selling it. So that's why. Bill Kerr says, love my Volt. Bill, I don't know. By the way, thank you for being a premium member of Fatmouse and Bill Kerr. I appreciate it, and I always make sure that I answer your questions first. But of course, super chats go on top of that. But nevertheless, I appreciate being my premium member. Let's see. Oh yeah, so Bill, I don't know anybody who has a Volt who doesn't love it like you and I do. I mean, like my lease is coming to an end, which I'm already extending it to January. And I gotta tell you, I've never done this before, but I think I'm gonna buy my Volt out of the lease. You know, I love it because because of the chip shortage, the prices of used cars have gone up, right? So, and I already negotiated my residual value with Chevy like 3 years ago, so I'm pretty sure I'll come up as a winner there. By the way, the chip shortage, if you guys don't know what it is or know what it is, but you don't know why it's happening, like what caused it, and like, is it really going to be a problem? It is. I'm going to publish the video on Thursday. Everything you need to know about why it's happening, and there's a bunch of reasons that you'll never guess, like why it is happening. Yeah, COVID, but there's many other reasons. And like how long we're going to have to wait, and what's going to happen with the new car sales and the used car sales. So I've done pretty good research there, and I think you guys are going to enjoy it because it is going to affect you. If you're buying a car in the next year or this or next year, this will affect you. You're either going to pay more money for the car you want, or you're not going to get the car you want. And the same is going to go for used cars because, less new cars available, more used cars people want to buy. So there's quite a few interesting things that are happening. So tune in for that. That's going to be released on Thursday. Let's see. I love my 2016 Volt, says Chris Young. There you go. And I think, oh yeah, that's a new generation, I think. But even people with the first generation Volt, I think, are madly in love with it as well. Let's see. All right, Roger's talking to Tom. I like how Tom just took over the half of the questions here. I love it. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. Steve Gagliano says, I bought my 2020 Model Y because of the supercharging networks as I drive from Los Angeles to Denver and Eugene or Chicago. I have never had any issues with it. It's a blast to drive. Yes, as much as I have never had problems with Electrify America, Tesla supercharging network is still by far the most flawless in terms of the experience because I almost never hear Tesla drivers have any issues with supercharging, but there are still some issues with like Electrify America and EVgo, less and less so, and they actually finally released the Electrify America now can be part of your Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, which is cool because that's kind of implementing it into the navigation system if you use the projected app feature. So I just used it the other day, so it's awesome. So they're getting better, but nevertheless, I totally understand. Especially you drive a lot long distance, you don't have time like to put up with any type of issues. I totally get that. Let's see. By the way, if you're joining us, we're talking about why you are driving the electric car you're driving, or not driving an electric car at all. Then we need to talk. Or if you're just about to buy an electric car, let me know what it is. Is this the price? Is it the features? Is it the Tesla badge on it? There's so many different reasons. I want to hear yours. Broman says, yes, for some reason, 2019 e-Golf was $40,000 MSRP with a 125-mile range. Wow, yeah. No, I didn't even know that. Now, I may buy myself an e-Golf, a used one, because in Vegas, like I said, those 100 of realistic miles will be more than enough. And unlike the Volt, it can fast charge. So I might go for that because low miles e-Golfs go for like a dozen of like $12,000, $13,000. Probably it's a little bit more now because we're in the middle of the chip shortage, like I mentioned, and the prices are going up even for the used cars. But nevertheless, my eye is definitely on it. But yeah, I didn't realize it was like 40 grand. Now I'm assuming it's 40 grand minus $7,500 tax credit and other incentives. But yeah. Well, things are changing now. Things are definitely changing. Joshua, who's talking to Tom, says, can't wait, Tom. I'm always tempted to go with the Rivian R1T instead of the Cybertruck. I like the Rivian, but also want Tesla tech and charging. I'll be looking for reviews to make up my mind. Rivian is that, so I think this is where I think the choice is clear for most people. Because if you're really into like overlanding and off-roading and just a lot of sort of camping and stuff like that, to me, Rivian was just specifically designed for you, right? Where Tesla is more of, you're right, a tech car that looks really either cool or ugly depending who you are. If you're especially Jim Cramer, then it's definitely ugly. But if you're Elon Musk, it is a beauty, right? So depending on your point of view, and you're right, I don't think Cybertruck would be something that people would be really taking off road much. It is capable of it, but I don't think people who are buying it would really be into that particular feature. Where the Rivian owners, I think, will be doing a lot of that. Yeah, Tom says Alex Lucid just sent out the info today. Well, to me at least, obviously you're on a much cooler list, Tom. They just sent out the info saying, watch out for an invite to the Lucid factory tour. So it's an invitation to wait for an invitation. So until I have my tickets, I really don't ever say that I'm definitely going. But yes. Let's see. There's another super chat in Canadian dollars. Andrew Lawrence, thank you so much. I don't know how much it is in American dollars, but I know it's enough for my Chipotle. So along with Nate's donation, I appreciate it that I now can eat. I appreciate it. I want to support your efforts, says Andrew. Thank you so much. And you guys just hanging out with me is a lot of fun for me. As you can see, I'm not having this live chats, live streams really sponsored. This is where I really just want to hang out. It is the best part of my day, and I get to see a lot of people who are into this. What you guys think about things that I'm thinking about every day, right? So this is pretty cool, and I'm let me know if you guys are having fun having this every Tuesday just as a hangout. Let me know if the time and date is and day of the week is cool with you. I picked it because I feel like between all the time zones, this is the best time. But let me know. I know it won't be perfect time for everybody, but I just really try to pick a best compromise, I guess. But let me know. Another super chat. Look at this. It's really raining in here. David McCarthy, thank you so much. $5. Now I have a date tonight, so that's gonna be going towards that. You guys are just like making my day, literally. All right, David says I went. Let's say I went EV mostly to avoid ICE repairs. So I'm gonna assume you said I got my electric car mostly to avoid ICE repairs. I've had all my life, but stop by BMWs and Jaguars, my friend. Then you won't have to have repairs. Well, it will be interesting to see. Did I guess it right? Did you have a BMW or a Jaguar? Because that's what caused a lot of repairs. But having a Bolt now, I have the battery fire recall issue, so I can't win. Yeah, so here's the thing. They are finally going to be replacing your battery. You're going to get a new warranty and a longer range. So if anything, there's a little, kind of a positive that's going to come out of that. And like I said, the fires that did happen, your chances are still so tiny. I mean, obviously, if you have, the alarm in your house that will, let you know if there's a fire, then especially in the garage. Like I have my motion sensor in my garage in both, so I would know. But yeah, I know it's a bummer, but that's an interesting thing because you're right. You don't get as many repairs and maintenance with electric cars. So that's an interesting reason. I think a lot of us have considered, but I never seen anybody say this as the main reason for buying an electric car. So thank you so much, David. So by the way, guys, let me know if you still like the idea of, let's say if David wants to share something, and I could just send him a link and say, hey, join me here, and boom, we'll do like a split screen where me and David will be talking like live if he's up for it. Again, this is a technical issue I need to solve. I'm almost there. I'm down to 2 different software, and I also need to make sure that it's going to work on my tiny little crappy laptop when I'm in Vegas. But let me know if you guys still up for that. Let's see. Bill says, why? Total gearhead. Sold a sports car and picked up an old 2011 Leaf for cheap, literally as a joke. Wow. That's a first. I've never heard of that story. It changed my life. Now I drive a Volt or ride my Zero SRF electric motorcycle. Lucid Air Reserve. Man, you are going all out. An original Leaf, an all-electric motorcycle from a Santa Cruz company, by the way, down the street here. So, and you're gonna have Lucid, man. This is you really, it really did change your life, and that's a great story. I love hearing stories like this. See, this is why I'm doing this live streams. It's great. Oh, another super chat. Wow, you guys are just insane. And this one's $20. Enjoy your lunch, says Neil Mazer. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Neil. Wow, really humbled. That's awesome. You guys bought me lunch, and I think you now paid for my date. I'm not saying I'm a cheap date. I'm just saying I'm going for drinks, and I'm, yeah. I did go on a date in Vegas 2 3 weeks ago, and I kid you guys not. I mean, we met during the afternoon for like brunch, and then we both had to do something, and we decided to meet in the evening and go to the Fremont Street experience. And so like we had kind of 2 dates in one day, and I kid you not, and she was not a big girl. She was relatively tiny girl. She had like 7 drinks, and this is the first time I went out on a date when the girl got drunk at the end of the date. Let me know if that happened to you, but that was weird. I myself don't drink at all. I know I'm Russian, so it's obviously some sort of a birth defect, but I just can't stand the taste of the alcohol and the way it burns. Anyway, it's not my thing, but yeah, but she just kept drinking and drinking, and so yeah, so that's why Niels is $20. We'll buy a nice drink and for her and a Coke for me, and we're gonna be all good, right? But anyway, thank you so much, Neil. I do appreciate that. Johnny Zenith says, Alex, we have lots of ID3s and ID3 Pros in the UK, and in my hometown, I drove a great ID4 Pro, really lovely. Yeah, I wish we had ID3s here. I mean, I'm not surprised that Volkswagen didn't really launch it here. It's more of a European car, and obviously Europe is much stricter on auto manufacturers as far as moving into the electrification. So I don't blame them. I saw quite a few ID3s in person at the unveiling event in Frankfurt when it got unveiled. Love the front, don't really like the back, but again, it's a more of a European thing. And it looks like they're selling very well. But ID4, that's my thing. I love it. I'm looking forward to driving the all-wheel drive ID4 in a couple of weeks. As I mentioned, I'm going to be flying to Chattanooga, Tennessee to check out their factory and to drive the all-wheel drive ID4. So that should be a treat. Let's see. No Russian vodka, says Jay Ramirez. No, I mean, literally, and I've tried everything. I've tried everything from champagne and beer. Well, beer I can't have anyway because I'm gluten-free on top of that. All the way to like hard liquor and stuff like that. Nothing agreed with me. I didn't agree with it, I guess. Just it all tastes like piss to me. So, but I guess it's a good thing, right? Like, I never not remember a great night. I never like limited to when I can drive home, and I never threw up on my friend's shoes or on my date's dress. So I think it's a winner for me. Let's see. All right, no, guys, don't discuss politics. Let's pretend we're on a first date. What do you don't do on the first date? Discuss politics. Ask her age, and I'm not realizing I just broke both of those yesterday when I was talking to this girl in a dating app, but I think dating apps are a little different. But anyway, don't discuss politics. The only time I talk about like Biden administration or Trump administration or whatever, and I do have a little Afghanistan joke in my upcoming video on Thursday, but that's because it's a joke. I only talk about it within the sort of the world of electric cars, and not trying to in any way sort of. I bet you guys don't even know if I'm like a Republican or a Democrat. And by the way, I don't hide it. I'm actually neither. I'm completely independent, just like I am with cars, electric cars. So not a Republican, not a Democrat. That's why I like living in relatively purple areas. For example, here in Sacramento, I feel we're like half and half liberal, half conservative, and in Las Vegas is very much similar. So works for me. Boom, another super chat, Cyberdong. All right, just for reading that name. Okay. I'm not gonna ask questions. But thank you so much for Canadian $5. Cyberdong says, I wish I knew your real name. I went Tesla when I went EV because I wanted all-wheel drive. Range wasn't an issue. If GM had made an all-wheel drive version, I'd probably be driving one. So another proof that GM has screwed up over and over and over again. I've been thinking about making a video about how many times GM have screwed up with things that if they didn't, they would have probably been the second biggest electric car manufacturer in the world at this point. And this is one of them, right? So yeah, I don't blame you. And Tesla is a great car. I think when you went with Tesla, which I'm assuming was a while back, right? I was driving a Tesla myself. Um, let's say, oh, you guys are now. I see Biden, Biden, Biden. All right. Uh, Neil Major says I'm not a big drinker either. Wine is about it for me. So I have tried. So now that I've crossed 40, I shouldn't say now. I'm 44 now. So when I crossed 40, I really was like, all right, well, red wine is something that's good for old farts like me. It's good for your heart. It's good for stress relief. So I started, trying the red wine at that time. My ex girlfriend now at that time, she was into red wine, and I would try to try it as well. And I was like, I can't do it. She can't do it. So I released my stress by not being in a relationship anymore and doing a couple of other things and quitting my day job and going with YouTube full time. So that's how I relieve my stress. And and I'm pretty healthy just because I just last night I played a soccer game in the local league. I play hockey and soccer. So and I'm gluten free. I think I maintain relatively good diet. So I think that all of that will replace me not drinking red wine in my age. Let's see. All right, Fu Kung Flu says something that I disagree with, and I know I'm gonna ruffle some feathers here, and I'm actually interested what Tom thinks about that because if he's still here, because I don't know if I ever talked to him about this, but he says EV1 was a great car. I disagree. I remember when that car came out, and I believe I was shopping for a car, and I looked at it and I said, hell no, from so many different reasons. I mean, obviously there was no charging infrastructure and installing a charger and all of that stuff, but it had very little mileage and it was unacceptable, and also it was super super ugly. So by the way, what I think would have killed the electric car if it wasn't for Chevy and the oil lobby, all of that stuff, would have been the EV1. Just like I think Nissan Leaf would have killed electric cars back in the day if it wasn't for Tesla. Those were ugly, bad cars that people didn't want, and that included me. Like right now, Mazda just came out with what, MX-30 EV. I just covered it, and it's got 100 miles of range, and it's been priced at $35,000. Is this 1990 again? I don't even understand. I want to meet a person who's going to buy that car. Really, I want to meet a person who will look around and say, you know what I want? Out of all the choices I now have, I want a car that's priced more than quite a few of them, and yet I get the worst possible range with it. Like, I literally just want to meet that person. Probably not going to meet him on the internet or her, because I'm assuming that person doesn't have internet, and just ask, what? So yeah, so so I think EV1 was an awful electric car. It would have, I think, died on its own of natural causes and not the homicide from GM. But it's still, I think it was awful. Johnny Zenith agrees with me, and well, Tom says it was an engineering marvel for the time. I agree, but think about Apple's Newton computer, which was absolutely a marvel for that time, but it was useless and too expensive for people. I don't know if you guys remember Apple Newton computer, but it was way ahead of its time, way before the iPhone, right? Kevin says zoom zoom. We'll see about that with that car sales. Let's see. MFH Berg says my EV would have been a Leaf, but the range was too low, so no EV until get the cash together again. Well, let us know which car you have your eye on. Am I caught up with questions? Nate says a couple of questions. Super chat incoming. I am waiting patiently. What's the latest on Waymo? Oh, that's an interesting question from Jay Ramirez. So it looks like they've launched the driverless service in San Francisco, which is down the street from me, and I want to go and try it. And I emailed Waymo a couple of times now because we've been talking back and forth, and I was like, hey, I'd like to maybe get to Phoenix, Arizona, when you guys are doing that, or maybe you can hook me up with someone who can, tape some videos. And they weren't very cooperative, but at least they were talkative. And now, which reminds me of my Tinder dates as always, they just kind of ghosted me. So I don't know. As soon as I get a hold of them, hopefully, because I've now followed up with another email, I would like to go and ride in those cars in San Francisco. Or maybe I'll just go and do it. I just need some time. Let's see. Oh, there you go. FU Kong Flu says, I took a Waymo cab in San Francisco. It drove really good, but slow but good. Okay, well, so let me know. How did you got that car? Is there an app or whatever? And, I should probably know that. I think there is an app. But, like, most importantly, did it have the actual driver behind the wheel, or it was completely, like, nobody? You get in and it's like nobody, which I just, what an awesome feeling, right? Roger M says, Nissan Leaf is my favorite. That's what manufacturers should be copying. Cheaper, small, and enough range. Just needs cooling on the battery. Do you agree? Well, Nissan Leaf is not my favorite. I think for the money, I would still go with a 94, especially when they drop the price by another $5,000 next year. But Nissan Leaf, I'm assuming you're talking about Nissan Leaf now, the second generation. Hate the first generation, but yeah, that one is a decent car. I totally agree. And with the price drop for the next year's models, which will bring the price down to under $20,000, absolutely. Um, so the cooling thing, I know the first generation had an issue, but this one, I think they've reconsidered it and they've decided that the air cooled is good enough for that car, and it seems like it is. So I don't have a problem with that. And don't forget, that's why the price is low, because thermal cooling system is expensive in many different ways. Let's see. Chris Kwai says that Mazda EV is an epic fail. I assume very low sales are going to occur. I'm assuming no sales are going to occur. Again, I would like to talk to someone who actually gets that car. Use Turo to test cars. Renting is cheap. Yes, if you want to test drive a car, and I mean like for a day or two, Turo is a great place. Enterprise Rent-A-Car also has like an exotic division almost in every city, so you can get like a Tesla or a different electric cars there. So try that as well. Prius is one of the most hated cars ever. I'm one of the haters. Yeah, I think I have a joke in almost every video about Prius. It is just, don't get me started. Yes, Prius, cool car, said no one ever. What else? By the way, you guys, if you're joining just now, let me know which car you're driving, which electric car you're driving, if you haven't already, and why. What's the most important reason why you went for that car? Do I have more water? Yes, I do. Roger M says the Volkswagen GT electric is any good. Was about to buy one. I don't think there's a GT electric anymore. I think the ID4 is the only one that they're actually making. Tom says, I do rent Teslas on Turo for testing. He does, and if you haven't seen his videos, you should. If you're interested about range tests and charging, whether home or fast charging, no one better. No one better out there than Tom. You can see his little green name right there with a little range because I made him a moderator. And yeah, so just click on that. You'll go to his channel. Well, not right now. Stick around right now. We're still hanging out. But his channel is called State of Charge. Love the name. So don't forget to don't forget to subscribe. I mean, he puts out videos quite often, and he also is a contributing writer to Inside EVs and Forbes. So I don't know why you would. If you're into electric cars, you must be subscribed. All right, another super chat from Nate Jones. Once again, thank you so much. I think you're like at 4 or 5 super chats total at this point, my friend. All right, ever heard certain cars are easy to convert to EVs? I've heard Beetles can be. Why do they put the battery under cars instead of in front of it or rear? Okay, so I'm not very versed in this in terms of which car. I mean, it's rich rebuilds kind of question, right? So I don't know. I'm assuming a lot of it has to do with weight and where the engine and transmission is located and how they're implemented, right? At the same time, I think it's difficult no matter what. I would love to have like one of those old school 1940s cars that are converted, but I'm assuming it's going to be a tough go because they're so heavy. And I so your second, so yeah, I'm sorry, I just don't have a good answer, and I don't want to, say something that's not really true. I'm just not an expert at all. And why do they put the batteries underneath the car instead of the front and rear? So don't forget, having an engine in front of the car decreases your safety by a lot for the front collision, right? Because what happens is if you smash into another car or truck or bus or whatever, guess where the engine is going? Most of the time in your chest, and especially with the steering wheel, right? Now there are technologies where the engine gets kind of crushed underneath the car, and the steering wheel kind of snaps the column itself, and it doesn't go into your chest. But it's more stuff to worry about that's coming at you, and most importantly, it's all about the crumble zones. It's hard to carve out the crumble zones when you have this huge thing in there. With electric cars, the motors are small and the crumble zones are much easier to design, which they do, and they do very well with the front crash test. So that's why the batteries should not be going up front. They should be going on the bottom. Now, there are many other reasons. For example, cooling the battery. The most important thing is cooling the battery. It's much easier to cool the battery cells or pouches when they're kind of like in a small, thinner layer rather than if they're in a bulky sort of a brick, right? Because then you have to get in there and cool them on the inside, and it's much tougher, much tougher task. So, and on top of that, the benefits is that the center of gravity is so low that you don't have to worry about the overturning the car, which, especially for crossovers and SUV, is part of the crash test, and they don't do very well with that. So that's a thing. So that's the best answer I can give you. But I would love to see more conversions. Now I know GM is working on a kit that will sell you, and you will take it to a body shop or whatever, the conversion shop, and they will convert whatever gas car you have. Well, maybe not whatever, the ones that they can work with the GM's technology. So I'm quite interested in that. I already told GM, hey, as soon as you got that thing out, I would love to check it out myself. Let's see. Henrik, right? All right. Well, he's talking. Thank you for being a premium member, by the way. Asking Tom another question. Tom, thank you so much for handling a lot of questions in the chat. Papa Geo 79, greetings from Cyprus. Hello, how are you? Welcome. Thanks for joining. Let me know which electric car, hopefully you're driving, and why you decided to go with that particular car. That's a question for everybody who hasn't answered yet. Jay Ramirez asks, have you been recognized on the street? Yes, but it depends on what kind of street. If we're talking about like really just me walking at Chipotle, maybe once a month it happens. And like the last time it was in Oakland. I was at this day event and somebody recognized me, and we're now good friends, and we together hang out in Oakland every weekend. That's awesome. So and then let's see. Yeah. Now, when I was with Sandy Monroe, for example, having lunch in San Jose. So don't forget, I'm in Sacramento or Vegas, so not extremely big electric car community. But when I'm in the Bay Area, that happens a lot. Like when I was there last time with Sandy Monroe on the Rodeo Drive of San Jose. I can't believe it. Oh, Santana Row, right? We were there together. Lots of people with money, lots of people driving Teslas, lots of people interested in tech. There, we got recognized pretty much as every step we went. Like when we just finished our dinner and we started walking, man, people started really pouring. And the good thing was that most people knew both of us. There were a couple that were just only were familiar with Sandy or with me, but most people watched us, like they subscribed to both channels. I mean, obviously Sandy on my channel is like once or twice a month. So I think we make a good deal, just like I make a good deal with Tom. Um, but yeah, that happens now at the events. Like for example, when I attend an electric car event of any kind, obviously more people have at least seen my videos. But I also assume that a lot of people don't tell me they know who I am because they don't like me. They don't like that I said something negative about Tesla or Elon Musk or the Prius or the i3, and so and or sometimes people go like, whatever, great, moving on. So I don't always maybe know that people know who I am, and honestly, man, I I'm good with that. I certainly never want to be famous. Tom, let me know if you ever want to be famous, because I know some people who are bigger YouTubers, and it comes with some security issues. It comes with privacy issues. Like let's say like I'm dating right now, so I talk to women online and exchange some of my personal information and personal things, and if things don't work out, right now these girls go like, man, whatever, see ya. But if you're famous or even semi-famous, all of those conversations are going on Twitter, right? And I don't really want that. I mean, I don't care, but I don't want that, as a delusion to what I do. Oh, Tom says, "Ain't I already?" Well, you are, Tom. Well, by the way, let us know, Tom, in a chat. When I have an ability to bring you in live, we should do that, Tom, as well. We should just talk then. But let me know, how often do you get recognized on out and about on the street? I think we talked about it, but I don't remember if how often. But Twana Canty says says, I like your channel. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Let me know which electric car you're driving and why you decided to drive that electric car. Um, US average guy says Tom is famous. He is a movie star. I don't know what kind of movies Tom has been in lately. I haven't seen any, but he definitely is famous in my book. I mean, Tom's been around forever. Like literally, I don't, not just because I'm my personal relationship with Tom aside, he's a great friend and one of the best people I know. But we've met because he's an excellent journalist. I literally can't think of another journalist, and let's include everybody, even friend from Electric. Like I think he's a great journalist, but Tom's been around for such a long time. He recognized this whole electric car thing, and he was living the electric car sort of life way before everybody else. I pride that I joined this whole Tesla thing in 2012 before most YouTubers who make a lot of money doing that even knew what it was. But Tom was like, he's the OG of electric cars. And on top of that, it was, even I started, my channel was all about Tesla in the beginning. I don't know if you guys knew it. I was the original Tesla fanboy, but Tom has always been unbiased, independent in everything he continues to be. Even though he drives a Tesla right now, I don't feel like he's ever Tesla fanboyish at all. So that's why I'm like, not only love having him on this channel, I'm so honored that he is every freaking week. And you guys should be as well. If anything, tune in for Tom's Inside every Sunday for the top story when he chimes in. This last video, he actually covered 2 stories. So anyway, all right, Tom says he gets recognized quite often. Well, how often, Tom? But yeah, if you get recognized more than once, well, maybe you're in an area that's more EV friendly. I'm just not in that area. So maybe once a month for me at best. Um, my wife loves Tom and she is a 10, says FU Kung Flu. Well, that's a backhanded compliment. Why wouldn't a 10 like Tom? I think, so yeah. All right, another super chat. This is from my countryman. I'm assuming Vitaly Kasyanov. Vitya, спасибо. Let me know which part of Russia you're from, or Ukraine, or I know we have a big Ukrainian community here, but I'm assuming you're Russian speaking. Vitaly says, from Sacramento, purchased the Tesla Model Y just because it's cool and expensive. Well, if you think that's expensive, try the Model S or a Porsche Taycan, but it is pricey. Uh, it seems everyone wants to have one, even little kids walking by, point fingers. Mommy, look at the Tesla. All right, you're just out there just saying it as it is. It is for the badge, right? Like I actually put up a poll on my community tab. If you guys haven't participated yet, please do. But one of the reasons why people buy electric cars is because it's a Tesla. I know a lot of people who bought a Tesla not because it's an electric car or it's got this or that. It's because it is a Tesla. That's why some people buy BMWs or Mercedes, right? All right, at least he's being honest. Now I have to say the Model Y does look way cooler than I originally thought at the original unveiling, because I think that car was blue on stage, right? And they had another white one in the corner that was just a mock-up, and I'm sure you guys seen pictures of that. But now that I see these stock, no, not wrapped, anything like that, with the chrome delete and stuff like that, and I go like, wow, that Model Y actually turned out to look very sexy, better than the Model 3. And like I said, I am not an SUV or crossover guy, so for me to say that design that design is something. Let's see. Tom, are you going to reply to me? Oh, so thank you so much for another $10, Vitaly. I really appreciate it. And you are, I'm also in Sacramento most of the time. Let's see. Okay, I'm just going through Tom's replies, and he's replying to everybody but me. Tom, I feel abandoned here. Come on. How often do you get recognized? All right, you guys are talking about John Bon Jovi. Okay. Oh, another super chat. Eric Lineman. I'm so bad at pronouncing names, but I got Eric right, I'm going to assume. But anyway, thank you, Eric. Another $5. I think you guys paid for my entire meals and dates for the rest of the day. I appreciate it. I learn a lot from your channel, and I'm always entertained. I appreciate that. I've been trying to add some more entertainment value because, at the beginning, I didn't really want to show my personality at all because I'm like, well, I just want to transfer information from me to you, and I'm just a talking head. But lately, I realized that the way that I receive a lot of my news and information are through people who are entertaining and funny, and I'm like, well, maybe I should once in a while be maybe a little funny. I think my jokes are corny, but I laugh at them. So I thought maybe some people would as well. So I appreciate that you noticed. Eric continues to say, my mock EGT PE is being built this week. So here's some coffee dollars to celebrate. All right, what color? Are you getting that orange color? That I really like that orange color, but I also like that Mustang blue. That's the color that I drove the Mustang at the very first drive that I did in Malibu. And my God, even though it was Malibu, right? Exotic cars left and right. My car, my Mustang Mach-E in that blue was turning heads. People were coming up to us. It was amazing. I'm like, this is not a Lamborghini or anything like that. And people, no, this is amazing. So it is a head turner. I hope you're getting it in a cool color, but I think in black it looks really, really awesome as well. I haven't seen Mach-E in too many colors where it didn't look awesome. It was my second choice for, was my one of the two choices, and I just went because with an ID4, I did like the free, 3 years of charging, but I also the price was just the difference was too big, especially because they're marking it up by so much. Ford dealerships are marking up Mach-E by so much that when I inquired about one at the local Ford dealership here, I realized that the sales guy didn't even know what the starting price of that car MSRP even was, because they were so beyond that. They're like, we don't even know. So that was kind of funny. But anyway, Eric, thank you so much for the celebration dollars. I really do appreciate it. Milk Football says, I bought a Bolt because I like to feel the burn. That is a great joke. That is a great joke. I should have thought about it myself, but no. Nice. Fly Guy 787405 says R1T, R1T, R1T because it does everything well too. All right. It depends on what you needed to do, but it looks like it does everything for you, and that's why it's your choice. Let me know which color you went to. Tom. Oh, Tom's asking. I missed what? What am I saying? What are you? What are you asking, Alex? Tom, pay attention to the actual live stream. I was just asking. You said you recognize often. How often do you get recognized on the street? That I'm just wondering. But I'm also assuming you are in more EV friendly area as well. Not as a competition. I'm assuming you get recognized more in a more EV friendly area. That's all I'm really saying. But obviously Tom is the cool one here, says Justin Martin. Here he is. There's no argument there. Absolutely. Uh, Tom says, well, the answer is more often than I would expect. Well, that clears it up, Tom. All right. Well, I'll get he says, last week out with friends for dinner. The table next to us came over and introduced themselves and said they love watching my channel and when I'm on E4 Electric. All right, I get a little compliment there as well. That's awesome, man. I think you told me about that story when we chatted a couple of weeks ago. I think it's great. I think it's excellent. Um, Somebody says, that's really the username here. Somebody says, I think there needs there needs to be a very efficient, low-priced EV with smaller batteries, something like Aptera, but maybe with four wheels. Yeah, something. Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's an interesting way of putting it. Well, we kind of already have that, and it's a Nissan Leaf 2022 version. Is after the incentives, is going to be under $20,000, and I think that's pretty low. That's pretty low. Um, Rafael Rossetti Almeida says a question related to Polestar 2. I'm hearing rumors about performance pack once getting power bumped from 300 kilowatts to 350 kilowatts. Anyone heard that? I have not. Maybe Tom can chime in and like I don't follow that in those details. I mean this is not that much of a difference. I think it's an excellent car. I really really like Polestar 2. The only thing is that I think is ridiculous about this car is the price. I think it's $10,000 to $15,000 overpriced, but it is a Volvo, so people will pay extra, and that's perfectly fine. I just saw, by the way, an XC40 recharge in the wild for the first time, charging an Electrify America station. Every time I pass the Electrify America station, I always look like what other cars are charging, and now I'm seeing ID4s, Mustang Mach-E's, the Volvos, the all kinds. Like it's happening. I love it. Let's see. Patrick says, Searcy? Patrick Searcy says, I like the ID4 after looking at the Model Y and Mustang Mach-E. Main thing I want them to add is one pedal driving, a frunk, and better charging experience with their charger network. So I mean, the charging experience is going to happen just because Electrify America is getting better, and I think they're going to have like the plug and charge uh, things pretty soon. You said one pedal driving. I don't care for it, so I don't need it. But yes, they really should because it's a matter of the software. The car already has it. Now a frunk we're not gonna get. That's an MEB platform. I have no idea how they managed not to carve out even a little bit of space in a frunk. I mean, the Volvo has tiny little lunchbox space, but it's something. So yeah, that's definitely. I don't know why they didn't do it. But to me, the biggest problem that I have with ID4, and honestly, I just talked to some ID4 engineers who are working on it, is the app. It is embarrassing. It's awful. It is awful. I mean, I've said it many times, is that if this car came with no app, I would be upset, but I wouldn't be as upset as I am when it comes now almost every day when it comes with this piece of crap. So it is embarrassingly bad, and it's a disservice to everybody else who's done such a great job making this car awesome. Um, Tom says, I don't believe the performance pack of the Polestar 2 increases the power. Okay. That's a, well, why is it a performance pack, Tom? All right. Rich8669 says, Rivian is shaping up to be the Land Rover of the EV game. Absolutely. And the SUV, I think, looks very similar to that. Well, I think Land Rover is not making much progress at all. What else? Just scrolling through. Okay, Talman asks, has there been any updated info around whether the chip availability through Q4 is being affected by COVID? So you probably joined late. Welcome, nevertheless. I'm putting out a video on Thursday about everything you need to know about chip shortage, what it's doing already, how long it's going to last, why it's happening, and what is happening because of that. I did like a week worth of research. I also have a researcher who helped me with that as well. So I think I have all of the information, and you'll be surprised that it's not just COVID that contributed to the chip shortage, but the way COVID contributed to it is actually quite interesting and surprising. So stay tuned for that video. It's coming out on Thursday. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, if anything, that would be a good reason to. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Tom's channel as well. Papa Geo 79 asks, do you think that small battery capacity EVs like the new Mazda will not have any success in the US? I don't think it's a matter of the US. And I don't think it's a matter of the small battery capacity. It's a great car. It's a great looking car. It has a range. Like, for example, I would be more than happy to get that Mazda in Las Vegas, where I know I never drive more than 50 miles a day. Perfect. And if it has the fast charging capability, which I think it does, I can always charge it up really quick at Electrify America or whatever. So that would work for me all day long. But it can't cost as much as the ID4 or Nissan Leaf or other very good or decent electric cars cost with double of that range. That's ridiculous. That car should be priced at, it should come up to maybe $20,000 after incentives. And even with that, I'd rather have the Nissan Leaf that has 150 miles of EPA range. So really, the 100-mile Mazda should be at a $15,000 to $18,000 after the incentives. So it's not the car itself, it's the damn price that they put on it, which almost double of what it should be. Love your channel, says Hazar JDM 686 Hazar. That's your username is longer than your comment, but I love your comment better, so I appreciate that. He also says Model Y performance suspension is below standard. Some people say that, but I think it's all about sort of a personal sort of preferences. It is still an excellent car. Does it use CHAdeMO? CHAdeSlow, right? The Mazda does not. As a matter of fact, all Nissans moving forward also does not. But the current Nissan Leaf does use CHAdeMO, though I think it also has a separate plug for the level 2. And Tom will definitely correct me there because he is the top expert in that. Any electric car charging, Tom is the guy. And I really think the only guy. Let me scroll back and see what else I missed. Joshua Pritz says, I used to believe the FUD of EVs, but Alex and Ben Solons opened my eyes. I love your humor and fair look at all EVs. I appreciate it. Ben doesn't really do, Ben doesn't really do YouTube much anymore. And when he does, a lot of times it has nothing to do with Tesla. I think he's kind of like done. It's kind of funny. I was just talking to somebody about it today. How there are a few people who started out like big and they were like big in the community, and then they just decided that's not for them and they just kind of pivoted. All of them still do like Tesla stuff. Like, so Ben Solins is one of them. Like Tesla Kim, right? She kind of is now doing more of a sort of a family vlog, though she does Tesla videos as well, though not as cheery as she used to. I think she's kind of also came to a realization that the brand is not as perfect as we all really once thought. And then Sean Mitchell just posted something on Twitter that he's really looks like he's, at least for the time being, is not doing any YouTube videos. So it's weird. It's weird. But there are a lot of newcomers that have created their YouTube channels, mainly Tesla. But it's always good to see some fresh perspective and new blood on YouTube. People think that like we are competitors, by the way, which is the opposite of how YouTube actually works. Because on YouTube, the more people in your niche that you have making videos, the more likely the topic becomes more popular, and the more likely your videos to be recommended to more people. So, for example, let's say me and Nikki, right? We're probably the most the closest to each other. Nikki of Transport evolved, but I would love like 10 more Nikis out there to be my competitors, because really the more videos out there about electric car news, the more popular is the niche, the more videos out there to recommend my videos. So there's really not competition there. But yeah, I met Ben Solon several times. Um, you know, and it doesn't really matter what my opinion of him or anybody else is. Let's get back to some of this. Um, Jay Ramirez says, "Have you ever met iJustine? I don't even know who she is. You should go on a date with her. That would be a viral video." All right, I don't know who she is, and is she on Bumble? If she is, then sure. Is she pretty? I should probably ask. Do we have chemistry? Brian Fenwick says F-150 projected sales numbers is a joke. Why? Less projected for sale than Mach E and nowhere near numbers to support transition to electric, even with doubling the efforts. Expected 80,000 sales per year in 2023. Oh, I see. You think it's too little. Here's the thing, man. First of all, they are not building it on a new electric platform, right? And if you're not doing that, then and you're going to be stuck with this sort of a transitioned platform, the maintenance will be hectic. No, that's not even the main reason. But the thing is, don't forget, they are still new to this. Everybody is. The electric trucks. They don't know when they were coming out. I mean, Tom thinks they knew, but I don't know. Like, I don't think anybody knew how many reservations they were going to get, how popular it was going to be. When it came out, I honestly didn't think it was a big deal. I looked at the range. I thought the range was quite awful. And especially if you're going to tow stuff and go off-roading and do all of that stuff. And at 230 and 300 miles, I think it's pretty bad. Still do. But look, apparently there's a bunch of people, including Tom, that think it's like the best thing from, that happened since Tesla, I think. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, Tom, but feel free to, let us know your opinion, which, I think I got pretty close. So yeah, and they've just doubled their production goals. Also, don't forget, it's not that easy to convert your factory into making electric vehicles, especially to ramp it up. I think we've all seen that, when you start making an electric car, whether you're a startup or a legacy auto manufacturer, you will have problems. I don't remember a single first or even second electric car model launched by any car maker, new or, or legacy, that didn't have problems with it. So I don't blame them not wanting to just go all out 100%. And like I said, I wouldn't also be surprised if once that comes out, once that truck is on the market, it may not be that as popular as you guys all think it should be. I just really think because of the mileage, don't forget the electric Silverado is going to be out, and I'm sure Ram is going to do something. And then, the Cybertruck is going to be on the market, and then Rivian, and then maybe a Lordstown Motors even pulls through. With that competition, 230 miles to 300-mile range is just not. I just saw myself picking my nose on camera. Great, sorry. Just I don't even think about it. This is live, so I can't redo the take. But it's something with my nose. It's itching. Yeah. So thank God my mom is not watching. She'll call me like, son, what are you doing? Don't pick your nose in front of all these good people. So yeah, I'm just not as excited. I think they might be proven wrong in terms of how many people want the F-150 Lightning versus the other trucks that are going to be available on the market, especially by 2024. So yeah, maybe I disagree with you a little bit, but David McCarthy says F-150 will be huge with fleet sales, where it's all about ROI. The constraint now is chips and battery supply for first couple of years. Yeah, that plays a role as well. And you're right. Probably it does work for a lot of fleets that won't have to spend a lot of money on gas, and they don't need the range, right? Just go into the job and maybe to Home Depot or to a lumber yard and coming back. That's yeah, I agree with you. I think that's where they're going to shine with this subpar range, at least as far as I'm concerned. Tom says I'm getting to drive the iX next week on Holy. Definitely let us know how that goes. That is great. I didn't even know that, Tom. We didn't even talk about it. Yeah, Tom says, I think it may be the most important EV since the Model S. Now, I agree with it as far as important, Tom. I think you know that. I absolutely do agree when the most sold, pickup truck goes electric, and it's a second electric car from the brand, the big brand, as big as Ford. I agree. So yeah, we agree there. I just don't think it's as good as people think it is. Uh, Fly Guy 787405 says, Alex, since you missed Rihanna at Rivian's event, you should flex your YouTube star power and have her on the channel. Yeah, Rihanna is definitely going to respond to me and be on an electric car channel. I wish, but it's not going to happen. And since she might be at the event, the drive event, I don't know how big it's going to be, and I'm definitely going to get to miss that. But who knows? I live in Las Vegas partially, and there's celebrities there all over the place, especially, once the COVID thing is hopefully over. So maybe I'll bump into her there. Who knows? Um, Papa Geo 79 asks, what do you think about the Chinese EV invasion, as Sandy calls it? As Sandy says, have you any info from Xpeng? Have they announced any plans? Well, they just announced plans to start selling the P7 in addition to G3 in Europe, starting in Norway. NIO has done that, and BYD is also starting to do that. So the invasion has started. And they're obviously starting from Europe, but sooner or later, they'll probably make it here. I drove the P7, and I thought it was an excellent car. I'd buy it, especially for the price point, any day. Any day. I love the way it looks as well. So that's Xpeng Motors' latest announcement. I covered it, and I covered the NIO news, the latest news in my last news video from Sunday. So it's actually the latest video that I published. Let's see. Nobody saw that, Alex, says Cyberdong. I'm assuming you're talking about me wiping my nose multiple times shamelessly. Cyberdog also says she went to an electric vehicle event. She might show up for your channel. From what I understand, she was friends either with RJ or someone at Rivian. And it wasn't even like a publicity organized thing. It was just, she was really just friends. I was at Rivian / Amazon kind of an event in Las Vegas a while back. And I know like Shaq was there and Guy Fieri, whatever the chef, was there because they were spokespeople for Amazon. I took selfies with both of them. I think they're still on my Instagram feed for sure. Shaq, I've never met him in person. He's a humongous human being. The difference in height and size between us, it's funny. I could not hold the camera far enough for a selfie to fit both of us. So it's like Shaq's face cut off on top and my face cut off on the bottom because my hands were not long enough to get both of us in a picture because he's just so humongous. Super nice guy, by the way. Super nice guy. I didn't know who that Guy Fieri guy was. I think my mom liked him, so I took a selfie with him for my mom. But now I know who he is. Also, very nice guy. But I'm just saying, some of these celebrities come to their events because they're spokespeople, and I don't think Rihanna is a spokesperson. I literally think she was just a friend at that time, and maybe now as well. But it was still very, very cool, and I still can't believe I missed it. My girlfriend at that time was the most mad at me about that because she loves Rihanna. So yeah. Justin Martin says, Alex, knowing Tesla's history of overpromising, how likely do you think it is that we actually get a 39,000 Cybertruck base model? So, let's review Tesla's history of releasing the entry-level models. On the Model S that I originally reserved was $60,000, 40 kilowatt hour model. I think they never made them. They made 60 kilowatt hour models, and I think they limited the capacity, and there was like 7 of them were made. So, they technically made it, but it was never a thing. Then we can move on with the Model 3, the $35,000 Model 3. It was there for, I think, a few weeks. It's gone. Let's talk about the $39,000 Model Y. I think they might have did it in China for a little bit, and I think they're doing it again. But in America, I don't think you were ever able to buy a $39,000 Model Y. So my money just based on history, is that no, we won't see a $39,000 Cybertruck ever. I mean, we might see it for a few weeks just to kind of check, but at this point, they might not even care. Tom, let me know if you agree or disagree, but I don't, just based on the history. You know what I mean? Um, Talman says, "You pick your nose, you can't delete it. We can rewind it over and over." Well, that is true. If that's what you're into, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. But so I don't repost these live streams. I you can either join me live and be here or not watch it at all. I think if you have a link, like if you got a notification or if you saw it in the community feed or on my Twitter account, you can click on that link and you will still watch the replay, but it's not going to be anywhere on my actual like channel on my homepage, because this is really just a hangout for me and you guys. If it's not live, I'm not really sure if it's worth kind of rewatching it, because if you really want to hang out, just hang out live. Tom is out of here. He says, "I gotta run, everybody. This was fun," and he adds, "Stay charged." Touche, Tom. Thanks. It was awesome, to have you here. Oh, we've been going on for an hour and a half. Damn. And it's every time I'm like, oh, it'll be an hour. I can't go for more than an hour, and boom, an hour and a half. All right, Tom. I will see you on later when we tape our segment on Friday. I don't know if it was if you guys knew, we tape our segments on Friday and edit it on Saturday, and then I post it on Sunday. Leonard says you can occasionally find the software locked 40 kilowatt hour Model S cars on AutoTrader, pretty cheap, no autopilot or supercharging, so I wouldn't get it. Well, it depends how cheap, right? But I'm just saying, like, it just never really happened. Jay Ramirez says once 4680s. This baby's right here. Thank you to you can buy this one, by the way, on Etsy. It's like 20 or 30 bucks. Yeah, you can just search for it there. Sorry, I don't remember the username, but thank you to the person who 3D printed it for sending it to me. Oh, I got other gadgets too. Did you guys see this? So I finally got the Mustang Mach-E or whatever, Mustang Ooh, as they call it, fragrance. It doesn't, so I thought it was going to come in a cool gas pump bottle, but no, it's just kind of a sample like this. So I did sample it. It just kind of smells like kind of a maybe cheap perfume, which I guess that's what gasoline is supposed to smell like, but it doesn't necessarily smell like gasoline. Like, I would actually wear it. Like, if I'll be like, oh, I'm a little sweaty, maybe I'm stinking, I need to mask it with something, this wouldn't be a bad choice. So they got me a bunch of like little this sample, like I'm gonna go to Macy's and sir, would you like to try smelling like a 1960s? All right, so that's pretty cool. I forgot that I had it. Dutch Champ says, Alex, any advice on convincing my company, largest defense contractor, so we're gonna go with Lockheed Martin, right, to install EV chargers? I don't know how you convince the defense contractors to do anything, really, much less install the EV chargers. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know where to start. Start with HR, Yeah, I think that's, or you're your boss. I don't have good advice for that at all. And maybe, so a lot of companies have their own like internal forums and mailing lists. Maybe first find other people who also have electric cars or just about to buy one in the next year or so, and bond together. And if you together make a request for electric car chargers, I think that would be a much bigger statement than if you just gonna go and say, can I have one? But why do you really even need one? Do you? I mean, you should be charging in your garage most of the time. I know some people live in apartment complexes and that's why it's really important, but still. Brian Fedwick asks, Alex, which version of Cybertrucks you have on order? Will it be an addition or replace your ID4? So I don't think I will actually be getting the Cybertruck, just because, I reserve. I mean, it's a first hour reservation, right? So I mean, I'm not gonna give it up because it's it's $100. But these reservations and these queues, they don't mean much, honestly. Anybody who I think mine was reserved for the single motor, like $40,000 one, because I was just about to ride in one, so I was more concerned about that than making a reservation. So I think it's the and you can always upgrade and downgrade and do all of that stuff. So, and I'm pretty sure everybody else who's ordered the more expensive one will get it before me. So my first hour reservation, if I still want to stick with it, will mean absolutely nothing. People without reservations will get a Cybertruck before me if I want to stick with the original reservation. But I don't think Cybertruck is for me, so I'll hold on to it. But yeah, Chris CZ, welcome again. Good evening from Detroit. Good evening. I had a chance to maybe be in Detroit for a few hours because when I'm flying to Chattanooga, it's one of the connecting flights, but I just wouldn't have any time to spend there. And I loved Detroit when I was there. So, and obviously I would want to hang out with Sandy. And yeah, I decided I'll just make a separate trip. Unholy 691 says, what do you think about the BMW iX? I think it's late to the game, but it's decent. It's got lots of cool stuff inside, good range, 300 miles. I absolutely hate the monkey front butt, as I call it, because it looks like the butt of one of those monkeys. I don't think they're monkeys. They're like baboons or whatever. But like that's all I see. That's just butt, and that's what the grill is. It's become bigger and bigger, and I don't know a single person who loves it, and I know quite a few people who hate it. I don't know why they keep making them, but so yeah, we'll see. Listen, BMW took a minute to come up with their second all-electric vehicle, and now it's here, and it's also gonna share the spotlight with the i4. So I welcome BMW. Hopefully you change your front end design. On the back, it's actually quite good. I love the back actually. Now that I think about it, it's just my whole attention is the front every time I think about it. Leonard says, I hope I can transfer my Cybertruck reservation. I've got a couple of early reservations, and one of my friends wants one. So I also had an early Model 3 reservation, and I didn't really have a problem transferring it. Tesla kind of said, well, he's your cousin, right? And I'm like, yeah, totally. So that was it. And he was actually captain of one of my hockey teams. So it worked out pretty good. Have you met Rich Rebuild in person? Asked J. Ramirez. I have met him in person twice. Once in Las Vegas for the what's that show for like aftermarket cars and stuff like that? I forget what it's called, but anyway, I met him there. And then I think earlier this year I met him because we both we were the only two influencers that Xpeng Motors let drive the P7 here on this coast. So we hung out like all day and the entire evening. So yeah, I had like an entire day with him. Great guy, cool guy, awesome. I mean, he's exactly what he is on camera in person, and that's I love that about him. Kind of been my quest myself. Like I said, I've been lately thinking about maybe not being so much the talking head and news delivery guy, but actually kind of show you guys who I kind of am in my regular life, which is just same guy, just a lot of cheesy jokes, and that's I think what I've been doing lately with my news videos. Hope you enjoy it. Yeah, you thinking of baboon, says Nate Jones. So baboon butt front doesn't just sound as well as monkey butt front, but whatever. I stand corrected. Oh, Dimebag Darren says, so is my battery question getting skipped for a reason? Honestly, I just can't keep up with all of the questions. And by the way, usually I take the super chats and premium member questions ahead of everybody else. I hope you understand that's fair. And a lot of times, the shorter the questions are, the more likely I'm going to read them because I'm trying to talk to you guys and read stuff at the same time. So it's okay. Let me try to find it. But you know what? You know what also helps is if you type @E4Electric it should pre-fill it for you. That way I see that as a question for me, because a lot of people are just making general comments or talking to each other or talking to Tom. So if you can do that, I will answer it as soon as I see it. Babu Butts says Fly Guy 77405. Oh, so here's your question. Is there something about the 4680 batteries besides the size that makes it different? SEMA. Well, SEMA is actually the show that I was talking about. I'm assuming they just gave me an answer, but well, 4680 batteries, what makes them different is just the chemistry. I mean, everything really. They're tabless, right? And they're bigger, just and which again, I don't want to get into the chemistry of it, and I don't really know it that well anyway. But the process of how they make it is completely different, and the way how the chemical components inside is very different, and because of that, the capacity is I mean literally it's almost everything. I don't want to get into it, and like I said, I don't know the particulars to give you like a really good scientific answer. But I think even during the presentation, and there are tons of other videos and articles about it that you can watch and check out that will give you a very clear answer. Yeah, so I'm sorry I couldn't have been that much help. Ken asks me, hello from Vancouver Island. Hello. Do you have any information on when the first Canadian ID4s will arrive? By the way, you guys are also going to be getting 3 years of Electrify Canada, just like we're getting it with Electrify America. No, I don't. The best people to ask is actually your local Volkswagen dealer. They usually are the most tuned in on when they're getting a batch. We have reserved a Pro S or rear-wheel drive in a black metallic. Very cool. I think that's what I have as well. Don't forget that little accent, the gray accent that goes along the top and the side, that will stay in gray. So check out some of the pictures of the black ID4s. You're either gonna love it or hate it. So just so you know. Vitaly, one of the super chat contributors, says, "Do you think air suspension coming to Tesla Model Y?" Boy, I don't know. Like, any question about Tesla, what's going to happen even in the next 10 minutes, anybody who thinks they have an answer doesn't, So I don't want to be the, Jim Cramer of answers about what's going to happen to Tesla. Sorry, I'm not even going there. Brian Fedwick says, what are your thoughts on Lucid asking reservation holders to now choose last minute? To choose performance or range? Obviously, they thought initially they were getting both. I'm going to assume this is a manufacturing issue. And there's a good reason why they've delayed the manufacturing by half a year, even though they had the money. So I'm gonna go with that. And they've been pretty tight-lipped with the media as well. So something's going on. And like I said, there's no surprise that when these cars are finally having to be tooled for real production, then the software finally written and had a code freeze, a lot of things they realized just can't be done, at least in time for production, and they have to make compromises, and I'm assuming this is one of the compromises that they've made. Yeah, and but at the same time, maybe it is even for the best. I mean, I'm not making excuses for them, trust me. I don't like how Lucid's been acting this year, but maybe it's for the best, because at the end of the day, I think people are looking for one or the other. Like, I'm a comfort guy. That's why I have an ID4. And people who want performance, they're with Model Y, and they maybe don't care as much about the sort of comfort ride and how quiet it is and stuff like that, right? So that may not be a bad thing. Fly Guy 787405 says, Alex, please answer, what Chinese EVs are available in the US as of right now? None. There are BYD buses that are made here in California that you will see. They're all electric. But as far as the passenger cars that you and I can buy, we got nothing. Jay Ramirez asks if you're unfamiliar with the Electrify Expo events and am I planning to attend? I'm only planning to attend the NAB in Vegas and LA Auto Show and CES for now. Usually I go when I get invited, And if I don't get invited to something, I don't go. And by invited, I mean people usually like, and by the way, it's not just me, it's just how journalism works. A brand or an event would invite you out and they will, take care of your travel expenses, just so that's taken care of. So you're not spending money on something you may not make it back, because we're all running businesses. So I haven't even heard from them. Some people invite me just to say, hey, listen, if you can't afford coming here, we would love to have you. Uh, Sometimes it would be like, well, make your way there on your own, but we will pay you for your speaker fees or something like that. But I have not heard from these guys at all. Honestly, neither one of Sacramento or Las Vegas local electric car associations ever invite me, ever. They know I'm here, but they never invite me. So I don't really know how that works in their heads, but yeah, that is what it is. Nate Jones says, I keep hearing battery size in kilowatt hours, but I'm more familiar with amp hours. How do I convert the numbers? That is way above my pay grade. So I mean, kilowatt hours is just better, I think, because like for example, the charging is measured in kilowatts, and obviously uncharging is measured in kilowatts per time period, which is an hour, right? But I don't know how you convert that. I don't know. Pedro Sanchez says, Привет, dude, which means hi in Russian. Hi, dude. Your thoughts on Neo cars? Love Neo cars. Love their little cute Nomi, which is their like dashboard assistant, which is just a voice assistant like a lot of cars have, but it's a physical thing on a dashboard. Love that. Love their look. It looks like they're one of the 3 manufacturers out there, including Tesla and Xpeng Motors, that have a decent self-driving tech. That's really like out there, even though someone just died using it, but that's like the first one. So yeah, it's a great brand. They really do build community around it, in China, and I'm sure they'll do the same in Norway. There are Neo houses, and I love that brand, and it looks like their CEO, I forget his name, is also a great leader, humble but very much to the point. So yeah, I have nothing that I have even negative to say about Neo. I love it. Oh, and of course, I can't believe I just forgot this. My most favorite thing about Neo is the only company in the world that has accomplished that no electric car manufacturer ever has accomplished, which is you get a fully charged battery within 5 minutes. And they do it with a battery swap, something that Tesla gave up on, unfortunately, and no one can charge a battery fully in less than 40 minutes, right? I mean, 0 to 100. Neo can do it in 5 minutes by swapping it out, and there's so many other things that I love about the battery swap. For example, I personally, if I could swap that battery, I would probably have a 20 or 30 kilowatt hour battery in my ID4 just for most of the days, because I don't need the rest of it. That would make my car lighter. That would make my expenses lower if I'm leasing the battery and didn't have to buy it. But when I go on the weekend, I usually go to Oakland. I will swap it out to a larger battery, which I'll pay more for, but and drag more weight. But then I will at least be using the whole damn thing. So yeah, so Neo is freaking amazing. So Tamon asks, is your background green screen or physical background? No, this is green screen. As a matter of fact, once I figure out which software I'm going to be using for these live streams, because like I use my actual studio right now because I'm in Sacramento, and as you guys know, I've been using my cell phone when I am in Vegas because I don't have like this whole setup. I have a studio in Las Vegas, but not this setup. It's actually very expensive. So but once I figure out which software I'm going to be using, especially if I'm going to be bringing people into the stream, I want a much more sort of casual setting. I would like the green screen to be behind me, but for now I'm doing it a little bit more official. That's why I got one of these things to be on camera, and my mic. Yeah. But as you can see, I don't like this is like I've designed this just so I'm talking while I'm standing up, because as you can see, my hands are now cut off because of like it's a small studio, so I can't. Anyway, I will have a more casual setting. Pedro says "spasibo," which means thank you in Russian, and I will not call you dude anymore. You can call me dude. I don't have a problem with that at all. Jay Ramirez asks, have you visited any EV plants or plan to? You probably joined the stream late. I am planning on visiting the Volkswagen Chattanooga plant in a couple of weeks. They're converting it from making gas cars to making electric cars, so that should be fun. I visited Tesla's Fremont facility 3 times, and then the Faraday Future, Lucid, Byton factory, but the Faraday Future and Lucid facilities that are not factory, that's coming up, but their headquarter facilities. Um, Detroit factory where bolts are made for Chevy, and I think I am missing a couple more, but yeah, quite a few. So, but I haven't been out and about much lately, so this would be fun. Um, Brian says, so many negatives to battery swap too. All the additional batteries required means that you're not putting those batteries in cars. It is negative effect for vehicle production sales. Well, so here's the thing. I can be hauling a 100 kilowatt hour battery with me, or I can be hauling 20 kilowatt hour battery. That frees up the same 80 kilowatt hour battery that I would have had for the battery swap stations to be giving out. You see what I mean? And when I do need the whole thing, only then I will get it. So yes, you will have to have more battery count as far as how many batteries are out there, but there will be much smaller batteries altogether. So I think that number will be very close. So yeah, but there are some negatives, absolutely. I mean, just the mechanical part, like Sandy Monroe said, like Sandy Monroe doesn't like a battery swap because there's a lot of moving parts, more stuff to break, and yeah, there are always negatives to stuff that's cool. Dimebag Darren says, use OBS Studio into StreamYard. Yeah, so I'm using OBS Studio right now, and I was going to use StreamYard and probably just with my camera because I don't have the OBS Studio in a setup in Vegas. So I was just going to stream from a webcam straight into Yard Stream. But there's also a software called a Restream. So I got to research that because I thought that was actually even better than StreamYard. So I've been researching all this stuff in between making videos and talking to there are a lot of things happening right now, guys, from a lot of trips that I'm planning to, some new sponsors that are trying to come on. It's a lot. So I'm doing my best. Hopefully next live stream that I'm going to have from Vegas, I will be using one of those software, but I'll be using my little webcam. So it won't be as sharp, but I think you guys are not here to watch me in HD. All right. What is the Tesla battery voltage? Asks that T. I believe it's 400 something volts. Leonard says, I'm excited to see the cheaper Chattanooga made ID4 cars. Me too. They're going to be super cheap. They're that's going to be amazing. The tax credit will make those a no-brainer for many people. Absolutely agreed. What about visiting Rivian? Asks Catholic Cop PR. Well, Rivian kind of snubbed me from visiting their factory. They're planning the event in the next couple of weeks, and they said they're not inviting me because they have a very limited number of spots. It's kind of weird because I've attended both of their unveilings, and I thought that was very much friend of the brand, and I know RJ watches my channel. So yeah, I gotta say, I guess I can say it now that I have nothing to lose, really. Rivian's PR people have not been the best. They've been, they had one bunch in the beginning that I kind of had a problem with because they would just ghost you for no reason. And I'm like, well, this is not Tinder. It's a professional environment. But now they have other people in charge, and honestly, I don't think they're that much better. I think they're snobby and just, yeah. And I think they don't quite understand what's good for Rivian, which is kind of exactly the opposite of what PR. I think a lot of these people, they don't understand that. Yeah, I get it. I'm not Motor Trend. I never will be. But there's a bunch of us that are their home base, right? These are my community and Tom's community, and many other communities are of people who are huge fans of electric cars and Rivian, and the excitement starts with us. So, maybe Marquez Brownlee or Motor Trend can give you a lot of excitement and really coverage overall in terms of how many eyeballs you're going to get. But as far as really keeping the roots where they belong, it doesn't get better than being with smaller YouTubers and journalists like me, Tom, and others. And I think they're moving away from that, and I think it's a mistake. So on the other hand, Illinois is not a state that I would be like super excited to go to, especially in, it's a smaller town. So I can definitely live without an extra few days, out and about. But at the same time, neither is Chattanooga. But I did want to go there, though. The reason I'm going there is actually more business reason than anything. So yeah, so I got snubbed by Rivian, but what are you gonna do? I mean, sooner or later I'll probably get a media car to drive around, but by then there will be 1,000 different reviews. So um, Crystal says I did so invite you to drive Electric Week on September 25th in Las Vegas, right? Yeah, that's. Oh, I didn't know it. Is it the same event as that guy was talking about? But if it is, then I'd like to go. Though that might just be the same day as the Lucid factory tour. Actually, let me look really quick, Crystal, because that's a good point. Let's see. Oh, there you go. Lucid event. So it's going to be the week of September 27th. So maybe I'll fly from Vegas directly to there. So, but yeah, then I guess I can attend the event. So we'll see. Let's see. Tommen says, I am about 2 hours from Chattanooga. I may need to ride my drone there to see the plant conversion. I don't think they'll allow you drone inside, but I will take the footage, the necessary footage for all of us. I don't expect any surprises, but I would like to see how the all-wheel drive version of my car feels. They said it's going to be much more powerful, so that's cool. Papa Geo 79, do you plan any Zoom stream with other YouTubers? The last one with Nikki and 2-Bit Da Vinci was nice. I'd love to do that every week, especially with Nikki, because but I gotta tell you, this niche, let me back out of it. I know a lot of other professional YouTubers in different niches, especially in tech and YouTube coaching. And I gotta tell you, no other niche has so few YouTubers willing to cooperate and play together. I've always tried to do this, right? With Sandy, with Eli, with Tom, right? I always think that my channel is so much better when you have other opinions on it, especially that are different than your own. Those others don't really subscribe to that. I mean, if you look at how many other electric car and Tesla YouTubers I've had on my channel as guests, I don't think anybody comes close to that number, because I think I've interviewed and I've had on my channel pretty much every single one of them except for maybe one or two. And usually it's not for the lack of trying. It's usually, I'm telling you, that a lot of these people in the same industry, they are just kind of douchebags, and I don't know why, and that's why I try once or twice, but if you're going to be a douchebag to me, I'm just not going to ask again, especially knowing that the answer is probably no. So yeah, I would love to have debates and conversations on this, on this live stream every week. It's fun, but unfortunately, most of them don't really want to do it. Like I told Ricky, right, the 2-Bit Da Vinci, I said, let's do a debate every week, and nothing happened. So yeah, I'm ready. Listen, you've seen me go on other channels that don't like me to do the debates and live streams. So I love it. All right, guys, I am going to sort of because my throat is definitely hurting, and we're almost at 2 hours. So don't forget, I'll be back here on next Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific. I'm going to try to see if I can start getting people to join us live. I think that would be a lot of fun. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been so much fun, and I probably can go for another hour or so, but let's leave some fun for the next time, next Tuesday. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up for the video. The next video that's coming out is going to be on Thursday. It's going to be Chip Shortage Explained. Yes, I will be munching on some chips for my cheesy comedy. That's the only preview I'm going to give you guys. And other than that, of course, my Sunday videos. Yeah, this is fun, guys. This is fun. It's like this time even more people are watching, so hopefully we're gathering a good little community. I see more and more people who are regulars. Thank you for super chats. I got $60. I mean, at least this is what YouTube tells me I'm going to gather after their part is taken. $60 I made on this stream. I appreciate it, guys. This is ridiculous, but amazing in a good way. All right. Before uh, before I okay, I'm gonna answer this one from Pedro in Russian, and I'm gonna translate it. What happened with the checkered t-shirts? But I remember wearing checkered t-shirts. Yeah, I don't know. Uh, is it getting on your way of getting chicks? I think it's oh, I think it's getting on the way of getting chicks. I don't get any proposals from running this channel because my statistics is that 97% of people who watch me are men, and there's no surprise here. But I'm just saying um, this is not a dating app a situation that you would think it would be simply because of the topic, which and I'm perfectly fine. Like honestly, I'm not really sure if I would ever want to mix business and pleasure. If a girl sees me, like if a girl is, let's say, a fan of the channel, I'm not really sure if it's a good idea to actually date, right? But anyway, all right. By the way, I'm not really sure if I translated everything correctly because I don't know one of those. Oh, okay, no, I do. I just couldn't switch my brain. Okay, I translated correctly, but I still don't know what checkered t-shirts we're talking about, so you'll have to clarify. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Hopefully, I will see you next time here on Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific. So don't forget to click on thumbs up. Other than that, see you guys next time. And of course, remember to stay charged.